People ask me, how in the world do you pick businesses? And how, because I did this consistently for about 30 years. How did you consistently pick businesses that were going to become winners? And how is it that you seem to sell companies just before when they're ready to plateau out and decline? How did you time that? Because timing is an important thing too. I had a special thing that you don't have. At least you don't have it for the most part, but probably an equivalent. It's just I haven't taken the time to go find it. And the thing that I had that enabled me to do this is something called the baby boom. Okay. And I had the good fortune of being 2 years older than the first real baby boom. I noticed when I went through school, for example, and I went to kindergarten, classes are small. I went to first grade, classes are small. Kindergartens are getting bigger. And by the time I was in third grade, they had mobile camps set out and the mobile homes set out in the back that they had to make into classrooms because they couldn't handle all the students that hit an unprepared school system for all these boomers. And then I watched as I was a kid that whatever the boomers needed, it was always in short supply. Never enough of it, okay? Then as I got a little older, I watched as the boomers got to a certain age where they didn't do this anymore, like the record industry, for example. There were a time when the boomers were the big record buyers. They were in their teens, right? But then when they were in their 20s and 30s, that group wasn't buying records anymore. So that industry took a big nosedive during that period of time. So what I did was I said to myself, okay, what do I like that the boomers right behind me are going to like? And then what am I not doing anymore that the boomers, when they get to be my age, aren't going to do anymore? So now I knew when products would rise, when they would plateau out, and then when they would go down because they were tied to consumption that was built into the baby boom generation. And the baby boomers never had enough of what they wanted. They were always having to pay premiums for stuff. And the people that came after them, always found surpluses on the market for whatever it is that they wanted. Okay. So once you get patterns are the biggest thing in life. I look for pattern because those patterns have a way of repeating themselves over and over again. And once you get onto a pattern, you've found a gold mine, okay? Because you now know how to structure your business. You now know how to time your business so that you're in at the right times, you're out at the right times, that you have the opportunity to buy right and sell right. All right, so the way I got out was with a reverse acquisition. All right, I'm going to go through a little bit of this stuff here because I want to get to something else where I'm going to tell you what two of our graduates did, which will blow your socks off. All right, you're not limited, obviously, to just buying a competitor. You can buy complementary product line companies. You can buy companies that have a strategic advantage to you. Now, we're doing something that I'm going to talk about in one of my other sessions. It's a word you're going to hear called strategic aggregation. Strategic aggregation. And it's the art of taken to the ultimate length. It's the art of cross-marketing. Okay, it's what we're doing in today's market that is totally disruptive to the marketplace. Whatever marketplace strategic aggregation finds its way into, whatever the normal business is, they're gone. They cannot compete. You'll see that in my next illustration. But one of the things that you might want to acquire are businesses that you can cross-market with. They already have a big database where their customers are very much like your customers, right? They sell a different product than you do, and they sell it to a database that's very similar in demographics, in the interests of those people, to your company. So you buy that company, and then you combine it with yours. Now you just doubled your database for your company, and now you cross-market the two of them's database to your other company. So now you're put yourself in a position where you've acquired customers that currently buy from a similar product that will now buy from you, but then your customers would buy that as well. So you've exploded your customer capacity beyond what you had before just by the acquisition. So whatever you paid for that acquisition because it was worth so much because of its profits, even if you paid a little bit of a premium for that company, you make that up in spades. Okay. And so that's the way you start thinking now of how do I add to my business? How do I make it more valuable than it was when it was two separate pieces? Okay. We went through the why sell, I think, because I was able to sell it for a multiple of what it was worth to a strategic buyer. Here's an important part. Okay. So for me, in my business world, what's important is, how do I get into a business? I use financial leverage. I use the assets and cash flow of the business to get me into it where I don't need my own capital to do it. And if I use any capital at all, it's for a little small incidental expenses that are just grease to getting it all to come together. And you do that by buying someone else's business. How do I build it up and build it up quickly? Financial leverage. I do that by buying other people's businesses and then adding them to the one that now I already have. And how do I get out with a big score? Okay, I get out with a big score by a reverse acquisition. I'm now selling my business, but I don't sell it to just anybody. I don't sell it to just anybody. Remember, I mentioned this word before, avatar. When you want to buy a business, you create an avatar of the perfect business that you want to buy. Because if you don't create that avatar, it's like a target, right? If you're not shooting at something, what are you going to hit? Nothing, right? Because you're not shooting at anything, right? So you've got to know what you're going after. And we do that by creating a criteria for that business. How big is it going to be? What field is it going to be in? What's its products going to be in? What's its specialty going to be? What do we want to be the strong suit of that business? What do we want to be their weak suit? Okay, in my case, I always wanted the weak suit to be marketing. I always wanted the strong suit to be good engineers in the company, great product, great quality, good cost control, all that stuff, but they can't sell. Okay, because that was what I could fix the minute that I acquired the company.